Well, welcome to Earth Science, everybody. So you just saw the other video where I did the timeline for you. You had this drawn out. Let's just write down what it is we were trying to do with this up here. Since the Earth formed, this is a number you got to know, but I'm going to show you where you can get it out of the reference tables. Uh, type 4,600 million years ago. Now that's a strange way to say it. 4.6 billion is maybe the easier way to say it. But I did it on purpose on this lab because I wanted to say that if we need 4,600 million years, then we're going to need 4,600 millimeters of tape, which is what that is, or convert that to say 460 centimeters, which I probably should take you guys through this slowly. What the heck? I know how to convert in metric, right? Or 4.6 meters. So that's 4.6 meters worth of tape, 1 millimeter for every million years of Earth's history. And then we did all the measurements. We did all that for you. We're not going to bother writing that or doing the colors. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you saw it in the video, right? And I didn't do these dates. I kind of talked about them a little bit. So really, we're just going to skip all that. And you're going to skip step 5. So there you go. Front page done. You're hauling. Now, as the trade-off, what we're going to do is take this guy. This big, scary reference table is from the Earth Science reference tables. Let's find the right zoom here. And it's a little bit, hopefully this works okay in the Chromebook, because to fit it on there, the like paper is wider than it is in the other ones. Hopefully that's no big deal. What we've got here is that Earth formed. Here's your timeline all the way over here on the left. So if you can picture that piece of paper that I've got laid out on my counter over there, this is it strictly on the left side here from 4,600 million years ago up to 0 million years ago. So there's the answer to the question I said at the top. Yes, you got to know this number. You got to know that the Earth formed 4,600 million years ago, but it's sitting there for you in the reference tables. Okay. Now I colored brown for Precambrian. Brown covers all of that from here all the way up to here. And then is kind of when the action happens. Now, all of this stuff, this great stuff, this fun stuff that we've had with the fossil record, the things we know about how life evolved, that all has really happened in the last 544 million years. So what you got to picture with this timeline is everything I did in brown. I don't want to say it's like the boring stuff. Some geologists are way into all this stuff, right? This is like the old formation of the continental cratons. A lot going on with what we'd have to find in very old metamorphic rocks. The action, the evolution of modern life as we know it, has only happened in this little bit. So my last 3 colors, in fact, there they are to proportion right there. Okay. Now this reference table, since it wants to talk about this stuff being where the action is, took this little bit right here. Don't draw this because I'm going to have you do different stuff here. Took those 3 colors that I did right here and basically blew it up. They said we need this much reference table to cover all of the stuff that's happened in the last 544 million years. And then, but this 88% of Earth's history, most of Earth's history, is great, but we just had to cram it kind of over here on the side. All right. So always keep in mind you're zooming this stuff and blowing it way out. So what I'm going to have you do, and I've had people do this before, and some years I do, some years I don't, but we're definitely going to do it this year in lieu of doing the coloring on the timeline, is you're going to do some coloring. All right. And you missed, like I did all of that in brown. I colored and colored and colored and colored. And as you can see, Silas took over for me a little bit. People always say like, oh my, why I have to color all of that one color? And yeah, that's the idea, that most of Earth's history takes place back there. What I want you to do is pick 3 colors. Do what like we usually do. I wanted you to change the transparency so that you can still see the words through it. Make your pen a little larger so it's easier. I want you to pick a color for Paleozoic. I'm going red. And you're going to color in. Oh, that pen might be too thick. Oh, I can just barely sneak it in there. All right, Paleozoic then is all of this stuff. And yes, I would like you to do this on the lab. This is going to be part of the lab. I don't like how it doubles up the colors like that. If you know a way to avoid that, that'd be cool. But color all of that in red. Okay. Pick a different color for Mesozoic. I'll go purple. I'm going to thin it down here a little bit so I can get in here. Age of Dinosaurs. I'm doing a purple. Like Barney the dinosaur. All right. All of this stuff, and it goes right to this line. I went over a little bit there. If you hate doing this coloring and you just want to do like, how about I just outline it like this, Mr. F? I probably won't argue. If you want to color all that in, that'd be great too. And then the Cenozoic, pick a different color again. I guess I'm going yellow for that tiny little bit. And again, this is when we would show up, but really not all the way until the end. Again, that last tiny little millimeter would be when the door would open for we human beings. All right. So that's kind of like what you would have done on the timeline. Maybe we should do, because you want to color more, right? What don't I have yet? Light blue. To say that like all of this is the 88%. Okay, so 4 colors, all of that, and then the last 3 bits where we know all of the stuff about the 3 modern eras of life. The Paleozoic with these critters, the Mesozoic. This is strange. This is on the bottom of the normal reference table. I don't know why it's on top, but I won't argue. Mesozoic with dinosaurs, Cenozoic, age of mammals. Okay. Now, we're going to have to get more specific, though. What this thing will do is get us some very specific numbers. So we can say our Cambrian began here 544 million years ago and ended here 490 million years ago. Our Ordovician, that's that crazy word, 490 to 443. The Silurian, 443 to 418. Now, you're not going to go memorizing any of these. You don't need to know the order. You don't need to know which periods are in which era, any of that jazz. But numbers oftentimes come up. So you're going to have to be able to say, like in this lab, I know there's one that asks about trilobites. So trilobites are here. They're critters like A, B, and C are all trilobites. Okay, trilobites are this black line. They evolved here. They went extinct here at the Permo-Triassic mass extinction. A, B, and C are all trilobites. If you want to know what trilobites look like, they're letters A, B, and C. They're those guys. So there's a question about trilobites, and you would have to then know, okay, they lived in this era. So maybe they live around, if that's 544, that's 490. Maybe they started around 515 or so, 515 million years ago, and went extinct right in that line 251 million years ago. How about graptolites? Okay, those numbers. How about gastropods? Well, they've been here for a long time. They evolved here, and they're still alive. Snails are a type of gastropod. Okay. Dinosaurs live only in the Mesozoic, so maybe they evolved here about 240-ish million years ago and went extinct here at 65 million years ago. The KT extinction. All right, so these little numbers are going to pop up. You're going to have it in the lab. You will have to figure it out. What else we got on this guy? There's really a lot. I'm going to give you a quiz that's going to look like torture, where you got to have all of these periods listed in some event, and you're going to have to sit there and try to figure them out and match them all up. And it is a little bit laborious, but once you start playing with them and saying this goes with this, this goes with this, this goes with this, you'll really get this chart down pretty well. Okay? And it's the way it's broken up into eons, eras, periods, epochs, what goes on with life. This little line is, do we have rock in New York to represent that time? Some places we do, some places we don't. Again, most of upstate New York sedimentary rock is all Paleozoic. And then the Adirondacks would be very old. There's a little spot downstate where we got a little bit of possibility of Mesozoic, where they find a few of those guys, Coelophysis. What else we got? Important geologic events in New York. So this is like just a list of things that might have happened. These mountains were building. This ocean was opening. This blah 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 was happening. And what has happened with Earth's land masses as they've wandered around tectonically throughout Earth's history. Okay, so there is a lot. This is not an easy reference table. There's a lot packed into it, but we'll just try unraveling it bit by bit and see how we do. Okay, so with all that babbling, what's my job, Mr. F? Do those 4 things with the coloring. Make it look maybe a little neater than I did if you have the time and patience. And then we'll move on. This is a cup I got at Chipotle a couple years ago that I unraveled and scanned. I don't know if we read this at the beginning of the year. Sometimes I do this on the first day. Our first day was so odd this year, though. But we'll read that. This is basically the same concept of this lab, only if you got a tattoo of Earth's history on your arm, what happens as you go from your shoulder down to your fingertips? And then these questions are going to be right off of that cup. Okay? I'm going to help you with a couple, but I think some of these are doable. The one I want to help with, those organisms, those are the 3 trilobites. We're kind of early in this, so this might be harder. Right? So look for the word trilobites in this. It'll say trilobites swim, blah, blah, blah. Use that to answer it. That one's not bad. Elements of literature. Mr. Ruddy helped me with some of these questions. You're going to have to think. This is like, yes, this is an ELA question, not a nurse science question. And then explain the quotes that's at the end by Pascal, thinking about this idea of how old the planet is and how brief our time here has been. We did that in the last video. The 4 divisions of Earth's history. And then, why is there so much brown is the last question. The 4 divisions of Earth's history are up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. I know that's a lot, but it's kind of the first opening thing we're going to do in Earth's history. Some of you might be saying, how do we know all this? That's a great question. And we're going to do some labs that will unravel that as well. How have we figured out what's gone on throughout Earth's history? An important question. All right. Thanks for sticking with it. Good luck on the lab. We'll see you guys soon.